First and foremost, okay, we're recording, everyone. Thank you, Peter, for the reminder. Sometimes that, got to make sure that happens. So just a couple housekeeping notes. If you want to attend more webinars like this, we have lots of them. Make sure you sign up for our email. You're on our email list and you'll get notifications of really amazing webinars just like this one. And then also, if you are not on our Slack channel, make sure you please join our Slack channel, because that is where all the action and the conversations are happening. So it's just a really great resource. And then any questions that you have, please put them in the Q&A portion, not in the chat. And we'll get to them with about 10 minutes left, we'll start to answer some questions. So, and if you're headed to Expo East, don't forget about our mic drop event. So sign up for that. It's a really good time. And there'll be lots of really amazing people there. So without further ado, Roger, I'm going to hand it over to you, and let's get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kim. Hey, everybody. Let me go on here into our next slide so everybody can meet me, meet the speaker here. So like Kim said, my name is Roger. I've been with Ecommerce here for almost 3 years here in a couple of months. So I am an education service specialist. So my role here is teaching merchants, mainly the Ecommerce platform. But the other half of my role is to do conversion and SEO audits. So I do work with merchants, trying to help them go through that growth phase. So definitely something that I'm very, very excited about, passionate about that. So today's conversion webinar, just kind of was perfect for that there. Awesome. Quick little overview, what we'll cover today here. We'll start with some conversion rate basics. In case we're very new to this, we're not sure what conversion rate even is. We'll talk about some best practices. Some of the main things I like to get in there myself, right? Building trust, page and site design, upselling, and then we'll finish off with a little bit of site speed there. Cool. Before we get into the conversion, like I mentioned, I do work for Ecommerce. Like I was mentioning here, we are an open SaaS platform for CPG brands, for all brands really in any stages of growth. So as I'm going today, I might mention some features that Ecommerce does in terms of conversion, but really what I'm mentioning here, it doesn't matter, what platform we're on. If we're on a Wix, on a Shopify, WooCommerce, anything like that. What I'm going to be talking about is things that should be applicable for everybody here. But yeah, like I mentioned, Ecommerce, great platform. We do service many brands internationally. So in the US, Australia, in Europe as well, there's definitely a lot of growth. And that's for both B2C and B2B. So if you do find yourself needing to have that wholesale functionality, Ecommerce is definitely something, a platform that can assist you with that there. Cool. So let's jump into conversion rate, right? And very first question, to anybody that's not familiar could be, what is conversion rate? You might have heard around a lot of conversion metrics, email newsletters. So like I have here down under additional metrics, any request forms, contact us forms. Conversion rate can really apply to a lot of things. What we're going to be focusing on today is really more of the sales conversion. So rate of visitors versus the number of visitors who make a purchase on your website. So all of the metrics, are super important. This one specifically is money in the bank, right? How can we get the customer to purchase, our product or our service there? So depending on the platform that you have, you can view these analytics. 3% as far as conversion rate optimization is the general average that we see throughout different industries. So obviously, depending on the industry that we're working with, the conversion rate number could be a little bit higher, could be a little bit lower. Big thing is going to be metrics such as like average order value. So if you do find yourself with a product or a service that's a really high average order value, your conversion rate is typically going to be a little bit lower as opposed to a really low average order value merchant. Same thing goes with things like subscriptions, right? If you are let's say, for example, like a coffee merchant, right? A product that continuously is purchased, that could be on a subscription, you tend to see a lot of higher conversion rates with that there. But just as an average across most verticals, 3% is going to be the magic number there. If you're above that, I would say you're golden. Never stop trying to get better, but you're doing pretty good. And so kind of falling into those metrics, right? Analyzing your online store performance. So before we can talk about, how we want to optimize our store for our shoppers, we want to know who our shoppers actually are, right? And so here's a quick little view that you can see in what would be the Ecommerce control panel of just some general analytics, right? So you can see your visits, you see that conversion rate there. This is on one of my test stores, so obviously I'm a little under the magic number there, but it gives you a quick little overview of some of those metrics. Additional tools that you can have, things like Google Analytics. There are some applications as well. So again, depending on the service, BigCommerce does have certain applications that help keep track of that information. But for the majority, most of you might be familiar with Google Analytics, probably have it implemented in your store. If not, definitely recommend for you to do that. Because once we have that, we can start looking at things here like, who is our buyer? What type of buyer are they? Are they someone that is only looking for deals, right? How did they find us? So that traffic origin is going to be very important. Where is our traffic coming from? Are they coming from just a general Google search? Were they clicking on a paid ad? Are they coming from like Facebook or Instagram? A lot of that really helps tailor your content and how you want to market your store. All right, once they arrive onto the storefront, you want to make sure that you have a consistent brand experience there. So no matter where they're coming from, right, it's going to be consistent to what they were hoping to find there, right? So even things like demographics, right? Younger, older, who are they purchasing for someone else, right? All of that information is going to help you at the end of the day. Number one, for your content, right, and how you want to market to your customers there. Cool. So we'll jump into some of what I consider CRO, conversion rate optimization best practices. I started off mentioning right now about analytics, right? Trying to figure out who your customer is. So once we actually figure out who our shopper is, then we can put ourselves in that customer's shoe, right? We want to be able to think like our shopper. One of the biggest transitions I think that I've seen over the last several years is merchants changing their online store from trying to target with either like specific keywords or making it really salesy, or just having a very strict point of view of how they want to display themselves to the shopper. Nowadays, you're seeing a lot more flexibility with that, a lot more creativity, really seeing merchants putting themselves in the customer's shoes. So think about what your customers want. What is it that they're looking for? How do they want to shop? And that'll help you. We'll touch a little bit more into some more specifics on there, but just kind of put that in your head, right? Start thinking about how your customer will think. Making it easy to find products. So again, we'll jump into some of these here, but at the end of the day, the fewer the clicks, the better. With every click that your customer goes through, it's pretty much an average of 20% that we see statistically that conversion rate goes down. So every click that the customer is going through, there's less of a chance that they might actually purchase something on your store. All right, so making it easy to find. Here we have just a quick example. Green Roads is a BigCommerce merchant. And here they have different categories, right? Shopping by a solution, by a product type, and also the featured section. So this is something that I really, really like myself. They're kind of targeting for many different types of buyers, right? If someone doesn't know, and Green Roads is a CBD business. So, right, if someone isn't familiar with the CBD product type, maybe they could be looking for a solution, right? They're not sleeping, they need to relax more or something like that. Or if someone's a little bit more budget friendly, right, we have the CBD under $15 under featured. With it being a new product, they're also targeting for beginners, staff favorites, that type of information there. So again, they're trying to think of what could the customer be looking for and how can we satisfy that there. So making sure that it's visually appealing, right? As we can see here, not too cluttered. and providing different options for our customers there. That kind of leads me into this next section here, which is, if I had to harp on one thing, and this is probably something that any of my merchants that have gone through conversion audits with me, is building trust, right? That's going to be really, really important nowadays. It's becoming a lot more important now, to build trust with our shoppers. You really want to be able to tailor to your shoppers. So earlier we were talking about how customers were arriving to our site, right? Depending on if they were on a different channel, if they were coming from Facebook, paid marketing, anything like that. Tailoring to your shoppers and trying to replicate that shopper experience, right? So one thing that you can do there is focusing on your brand, right? Who are you? So things like your logos, the way you brand yourself, your colors, make sure that it's all consistent around all of your different channels, right? So if we do have presence on Amazon, eBay, Instagram, make sure that it's all the same brand. That way, whenever a customer arrives to your site, they're not questioning, am I on the same page? Is this the same company that I was looking at on Instagram or whatnot, right? And then kind of going into that a little bit more is explaining who you are. If kind of like what I was saying here about building trust is the one thing I really like to harp on. If there's one thing that I always see missing on most sites that I'm auditing, is an about us section on the homepage. So I see a lot where they often just show like a product or a category, right? You get to the homepage there, but they never answer, who are we, right? Who is this brand? So take that into consideration whenever you are putting content on your page. And this goes really for the entire site. I would say that on home pages, category pages, product pages, try to answer what I mentioned is the 5 whys, the 5 W's, I'm sorry, right? The who, what, where, when, and why. If you can answer a lot of that, you're really going to build trust with your customers, right? They're going to arrive to your site. If they did have a question, you're already answering it for them, right? So again, that makes that shopping experience a lot easier for them. They're not having to reach out, question, doubt, anything like that. So those five W's, right? As we're going through product page, category pages, and home pages, always try to think of answering that information there. Continuing on building trust is something that really has picked up a lot over the last couple of years. Is going to be what we call user-generated content. And you've probably seen it in a lot of sites. If you ever visit a homepage or a product page, you'll see customer reviews, right, things of that nature. Here I have an example of a merchant, BB Wheels, over to the right, where they actually have images from their customers. So these guys sell wheels and tires, and here they actually make it really easy for the customer to add their own image, right? And this is something that's going to impact other customers, other shoppers, as they're going and visiting the site. They see how involved other shoppers are, right? And again, that builds on that trust that you are a real business, that your customers enjoy the products that you have, right? And so that kind of leads me there into the Green Roads example that we see here. This is something that, again, that CBD business that we were just looking at, this is also something that they have on their homepage. Like I was mentioning, CBD is a fairly new business or industry for a lot of folks. They might not really know the ins and outs, right? What the product is. So here they're talking about who they are. As you can see here, the icons where it's amazing customer support, 40,000 5-star reviews or whatnot. These are what I would call value statements, value icons as well. They can either be text, they can be an icon like this, but this is becoming a lot more popular as well. These are just ways that you can showcase things of value that your business offers, right? And so these are really, really quick, actionable items that you can do, on your homepage, on your product page. As you can see, most of these logos, there's actually free services out there where you can get like a logo and change it up in image here, like where we see the smiling faces and the stars or whatnot. And it doesn't have to be something that's totally out of the box, right? The first one that Green Roads has here is we offer amazing customer support, right? It's nothing that you wouldn't expect. You would hope that the business that you're working with has good customer support, but they're really making it known there that they have customer support. So if you did have any doubts about reaching out to them via chat or phone or whatever, you can be assured, right, that they're going to take care of you there. The American grown hemp that we see here, those are huge value statements. Shopping locally, made in the USA. I was just working with a military operations, right? So that type of value statements, if there's anything that you can relate to that you think your shoppers will find of value, definitely put that on there. We're starting to see this, and it's a good way of moving away from a big bulky page of text, right, and having these fun, more modern looking icons where you're still letting customers know, what you offer. Some more examples here. If I go into this next section, we have gourmetfuel.com. This is an Irish brand on Ecommerce. They are a meal service here. And so they're building trust as well. Different value statements, right? Again, depending on the shopper, depending on the business that we have. These guys here are selling meal plans. And as you can see where I have highlighted in the blue, I love that they put this information in here because they are showing that credibility, right? They're not just any business, anybody trying to sell the products here. Their whole thing behind the food is that it's really good for you. It's healthy, it's delicious, right? And so who are the people behind it? Well, it's a nutritionist and a head chef, right? And they talk about their experiences, again, that credibility behind them. So if you have anything like this, any industry certifications, right? If you guys have been mentioned for any awards, anything like that, that's going to be great to have. Here, just another quick example of same store here, gourmetfuel.com, of them showing some customer reviews. One thing, as I'm talking about customer reviews, is if you want to display customer reviews, also recommend encouraging your customers to provide really solid reviews. The better the review, the more content that we can have in there, the better that's going to be, right, for trust and confidence building, right, for your shoppers there. If they see that another shopper, in this case, they purchased a meal and they've been suffering with some kind of disease and they've been eating healthy now and it really made a change in their life. Right, those are the type of reviews that can really make an impact. So if you can, try to check any of your reviews there. And they can also give you good insight as to what customers are looking for, right? If they are talking about maybe the quality of your food, in this case, or the quality of your products, the sizes, colors, assortments, anything like that, right? It could give you a good idea here, of what your customers are saying, what they're looking for, what they like, what they don't like. Some more examples here. Again, I just want to show you guys how easy and how different really you can show this type of information. Here we have another one of Ecommerce merchants here, Snack Kitchen. These guys also sell meals here, and they are a local business, right? So here we see some value statements that they have, where it's made in Texas, it's food you can trust, quality comes first, right? So again, they're talking about the quality of the food, how it's zero preservatives, right? No antibiotics, artificial sweeteners, anything like that. How they source their food. That's something that Green Roads does as well. Here we see to the right, again, those reviews. If you've been featured on any publications, those are huge. I know personally for me, reviews and seeing what other shoppers, what other businesses are saying about products goes a long way for me. Right. So personally, I think reviews, any credibility that you can show, definitely encourage you to do that. And like I mentioned, it doesn't need to be something that's way out of the ordinary there. Just think about what you guys offer, what you do well, right, and try to emphasize that. Cool. So we'll jump here into kind of a little bit of more site design. So homepage design here. Like I mentioned earlier, we want to make sure that we capture the attention of our customers immediately, right? Especially now that shoppers are on mobile devices. they're not seeing as much information as you would usually see like on the desktop. Right. So we want to make sure that we can really capture the customer's attention immediately. So whether we're using something like a homepage carousel, or in this case, like this example here with Solo Stove, another one of Ecommerce's merchants, they have more of this tiled view, right? And they are targeting different buyers. So if you're looking to get a good deal, right, that's the first one there. Enjoy up to $300 off. If you are looking for a specific type of product, like what they have here, their pizza ovens, or a tabletop little fire pit that they have there, they're using this space to either promote, provide a good call to action, display any new content, new products that they have there. So just use that strategically there. The old way of thinking was that the homepage was kind of like a landing page, right? People would kind of click through, see what you were about and whatnot. Now we want to make sure that we give them what they want immediately, right? So depending on whether we're using the tile form like we see here, or a carousel, I have some examples here coming up as well, just a carousel. Again, think of the value. What is that our customers are looking for? What can we provide for them immediately? With that being said, something that I really, really like about Solo Stove that they do throughout their entire site really is using what we call lifestyle images. So this really depends on your industry, right? Obviously, if it's something very industrial like nuts and bolts, it's probably not very exciting, or it might be difficult for a huge SKU list, for you to take images of somebody putting a bolt, assembling something together or whatnot. If your product does lend itself to that, if your business lends itself to that, lifestyle images are making a big impact as well. Kind of going back into the building trust, the customer reviews, the value statements, we want to think about how can we make this customer feel comfortable on our store? How can we appeal to them emotionally, right? And that's something that lifestyle images do very, very well. With Solo Stove, if you guys go and visit their website, you'll see that the majority of products or product images aren't necessarily the product itself. It's the product in use. So it's a family around a campfire. They're at a lake, they're in their backyard. So they're really showing, or they're really trying to hit that emotional appeal for the customer, right? Make you envision what that's going to look like. So any kind of imagery like that. Videos are also something that are becoming a lot more popular as well. Kind of moving away from the text and the content that we have there. Videos do provide a quick way of customers, especially if you have a lot of more like the younger generation, right? They really like to see that content now in a video format, as opposed to text, right? So if we have any how-tos, about the business, kind of going back to the example there of the nutritionist and the chef, right? They have a video there giving you a quick blurb about who they're about, and why they do what they do with the business there. So again, we're trying to build that trust, right, at the end of the day. And then lastly, this is a little bit more for SEO. Or SEO and conversion go hand in hand for certain aspects, but if you do have information, make sure again that we're trying to target those W's, the who, what, where, when, why, so that we can answer the customer's queries once they get to their site. And also for SEO purposes, get that traffic onto our site, get the correct traffic onto our site, right? So in this example, if someone is looking for a portable fire pit on Google, then in this case, they're coming to their correct store, right? But if they're looking for a grill, this might not be the right place, right, for that particular type of item. So depending on the information we have, we definitely do want to answer that there for both conversion and SEO purposes. Just some more examples here of some home pages. So the previous one was more of that tile style there. Here we have some banners. So Green Roads, again, they do a lot of good things here for conversion. They have a carousel, which a carousel can be good. It does tend to sometimes be viewed as the original way of displaying products on the home screen, any type of information. But here, as you can see with Green Roads, they're again trying to promote for the buyer, what is it that they're looking for? So if you do have different types of products, different services that you offer, right? Maybe it's not just one type of product. Carousel could be a good strategy to be able to promote those. And it also, instead of just having, like a quick shop now with the tile, you get to get a little bit more creative with your imagery, right? With the calls to action. So like what we can see here, with the sleep soundly, she looks very relaxed, right? We're ready to go to sleep with the eye covers. So makes it a lot more visual in this case. The gourmet fuel, they also have a banner here. If we scroll down here, they have like how it works, information. So again, making it easy for the customer to know what you're about, what you sell, and how they can go ahead and go through that purchasing funnel. All right, so if we want to guide them, right, depending on the category, depending on the solution, the product type, in this case, how it works, how you set up, how you go through that meal ordering, make it easy for them there. But other things, value statements, like I was mentioning, solo stove. This is something that they have on their homepage as well. The free shipping, lifetime warranty. So just to show you guys some different examples, right, of how you can start incorporating those little icons there, those statements. And like I mentioned, it doesn't have to be anything really crazy. If you offer free shipping over a certain amount, advertise that, right? Make it easy for your customers there. Something that I really wanted to mention here that I like. For Green Roads, they use that top banner, same thing with Gourmet Fuel, for any promotions, any discounts, again, anything that you think can be of value for your customers. So if you offer financing options, right, that could potentially be something that you have up there. Free shipping, like what we see here, Green Roads on their top green banner. This blue banner that they have here is actually quite recent. Kim and I were just talking about, so I'm located in Austin, it's very, very hot. The whole country, I think, is going through a heat wave right now. So they actually have a notification here where they're shipping their customers their products with ice, right, and separate boxes or whatnot. So using that information again to tailor to what the customer is looking for, what they might need, and what would make them feel comfortable, right, to make a purchase. Whether in this case it's the quality of the product, or how we see here with Gourmet Fuel, and they have a cutoff time for their meal prep, so that you know exactly when the last second is, right, that you can place a meal to have it at the next available time. Kind of going into a category page here. Gourmet Fuel, another example here. They do a lot of things really nicely as well here. One thing that I see consistently on category pages, and that's a really quick fix, I think, for conversion rate, is going to be, again, answering who you are, what you're about. A lot of times your customers might not be coming from your homepage. They might not be coming from, maybe a very reputable source, or maybe not necessarily reputable, but maybe they didn't get enough information, on the link that they clicked on, and they wanted to find out a little bit more about who you are. So if they happen to arrive at a category page or a product page for their first time, we don't just want to have a product, right, and nothing about the business or why they should buy from us, especially if they don't really know who we are or what they're looking for yet. So that's something that Gourmet Fuel does really well here. At the very top, they have this content for the category. Welcome to Gourmet Fuel online shop. Pick and choose your own weekly meals. And so they're already letting you know who they are, what they offer, right? That type of information, I think I very, very rarely see it on category pages. So if you do have something to add, definitely do encourage to do that there. Again, think about those W's, right? Who, what, where, when, why. And then kind of going into the making it easy for your customer, and again, a little bit more about who you are. To the left here, we have the filters, where Gourmet Fuel, they are asking you questions like, how do you like to eat? Is there anything that you don't like? Is it ready to eat? Do you need to heat it up? So product filters, very, very important, especially if we do have a lot of variants, a lot of different products, a lot of different types of products. Making sure that we are being clear in that, and making it easy for the customer to find something, right? So in this case, they're being very specific, right? How do you like to eat? And then they have those questions there. It could be something as simple as colors, right? Materials, anything like that. So product filters, definitely something that's important there, along with that category information. Jumping into our product pages here, again, this is probably where it's really, I would say maybe the most important spot to answer those 5 W's, right? Whenever we have a customer in the product page, they're almost ready to buy, right? So we want to make sure that we have the correct content on there. In this case, I have an example here, Mountain Crest Gardens. They have the first screenshot here at the top. This is their homepage. So they're doing actually quite a few things that I really like. Starting off is their imagery, right? So we talked about that lifestyle imagery, making sure that we have clear images, that they're not stretched out, right? That they're not maybe just on a very blank background or anything like that. Lifestyle images, like what we see here, very clear. It lets the user know what they're getting, what it's going to look like, right? They can really envision it. So here they have an image of the succulent up close. They have some images of the succulent in the garden, in a little pot. So we're really helping the customer visualize, right, what that product's going to look like. So that kind of goes with the W's, right? Why would they need the product? Who is the product going to be for, right? And so that's something that Mountain Crest does really well here as well. So they have here the detail, shipping, and why MCG, so why Mountain Crest Gardens. This is something that we're starting to see often as well now, kind of like an FAQ type of section. Why should we buy from you? Answering any question that the customer might have before they even go through the product details there. So they're doing some really good things there that I enjoy. Free shipping, again, those value statements, wherever we can throw them in, definitely put them in there. So they have their free shipping information there. If you actually click on their YMCG on the product, it just scrolls you down. This is lower on their product page, but they have why Mountain Crest Gardens. So again, they're talking about customers love us. They talk about their reviews there. At the bottom, they're showing that they have the 50,000 5-star reviews. Better Business Bureau, their A+ rating there, where they're featured on, right? So they have the Wall Street Journal and Newsweek there. So again, they're really trying to build that credibility. This could be the first time that someone visits their website. They haven't seen the homepage or the category page. They just arrived to the product page. So they're asking themselves, why should I buy from here? And they're answering everything there. So very good example. They walk you through all the benefits. They have that social proof that we were mentioning, right? And it kind of makes that decision process easy for you there. Add to cart information. Really, most of the product details, I would say, like the quantity, the add to cart, and if you offer any payment options, any value statements, try to have all of that information what's called above the fold. So above the fold really just means that whenever you get onto that site, before you have to start scrolling down, can you see the add to cart button there? Is it a different color, right? Does it look like a call to action? So that's something that I tend to see fairly often as well with the add to cart buttons, where you hover over the button and it doesn't change color, or it's just not an attractive color where it's really calling out the attention there to that add to cart, right? So kind of going with the whole branding of your store. Make sure that we have a clear add to cart button, make sure that it is above the fold, and it's very easy for the customer to add a quantity, select an option, and add the product to the cart. Here's an example of Green Roads, just a different product page as well. They're doing a lot of things that I like. They're targeting some of that there. So, we see the reviews up at the very top. They have the number of reviews, the product images. It's a new great taste. So they're advertising that, they're letting you know that it's something new. They have the one review from their customer there. So before you even scroll down to customer reviews, again, they're really trying to harp on what the shopper is saying, right? What shoppers have to say about the product. So I am in love, right? You couldn't ask for a better review there. And then they have their product details. So all of this is above the fold here in this page, right? You see the basics, they have some information there, why you should buy the product, what it is. So here you can actually almost see them answering the W's as what it is, why is it special, right? Who needs the product, that type of information there. Below that, you see customer reviews, ingredients, suggested use, lab sheets. So that's where a lot of times we see things like FAQs, right? So if you do have those customer reviews, have that type of content in there, have FAQs if you have them. Again, anything that the customer might be searching for, might be curious about. In this example, CBD again, right? It's going to be a product that's maybe a little bit newer. Customers aren't sure what all it has. Is it safe to use or not? So they have their ingredients, suggested use, and lab sheets. Right. So again, tailoring to our customer, right? Making sure we're answering what they're looking for and what they need. In this example here, to the right, you see the purchase type and the add to cart button. They actually have something that we don't see too often. It really depends on the product that you have, right? But the subscription option. So if you do have a product that customers tend to buy periodically, on a weekly, monthly, even yearly basis or anything like that, subscribing is a great way to get that conversion rate up. Once you have someone on a subscription, it is very likely that they're going to come back and purchase again, right? So if that's something that we can offer, definitely do encourage having those types of options there. Personalization and recommendations here. So this goes a little bit more to figuring out, again, who our customer is. Recently, AI is probably a term that you guys are hearing thrown out all over the place. It's been around for a little bit. There's a lot of tools that are actually using AI increasingly, right? AI-powered recommendation engines. So we see these with like exit intent, cart abandonment pop-ups. Just is one that I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with. I've seen a lot of my merchants work with, but they specifically work with conversion rate optimization, right? And things like exit intent, cart abandonment pop-ups. So trying to capture those customers that weren't originally going to purchase, right? And making it easy for them to either come back to the site if they've already left, or keep them from leaving, right? And stay on that conversion funnel, on that purchasing funnel. So Solo Stove here, this is an example of kind of like an exit intent. As soon as you're trying to leave the website, you get an offer here for 10% off. So not only are you just giving the customer 10% off, trying to keep them on the store, but you're also here gaining their email address if that's something that they put in there, right? And then that helps you for conversion later down the road, right? You can then market to this customer. That they like discounts, right? So you could potentially market that way there. Once you have that information, it makes it a lot easier for you to understand your traffic, right? So these types of pop-ups are really good for anybody that is trying to understand more, maybe like their repeat customers, especially if you do have like a subscription base, or if it's just customers that purchase every now and then. Things like surveys or questionnaires that you can ask them can definitely help you try to understand them there, right? So things as easy as, someone's coming onto your site, are they purchasing for themselves, right? Are they purchasing this as a gift? Is there anything that they're really looking for, any preferences, right? So really depending on the product that you have, right, you can ask these different types of questions so that maybe what type of service, what type of product they're going to prefer, right, that you offer. And ultimately, it can help with cross-selling, right? So that kind of takes me into our next section here, which is upselling strategies, bundling, making sure that we offer a customer another option to add onto their cart. So if we can bundle, if we can add on to the cart, basically increase that average order cart value, that's going to help us with conversion, right? Subscriptions, we mentioned those as well. Free shipping, discounts, right? Like we saw previously with the Solo Stove one. And then even things like referral programs. So if you do have, or you would like to offer, loyalty, rewards, that's a really, really good way of getting customers to come back to your store, right? I know that's personally something that I fall for all the time. I tend to be the person that if I like a product, I'm probably going to purchase it again. So if you have a customer or a rewards program, right, it's going to make it really, really easy for me to sign up and give over that information, right, and continue to purchase from you. So upselling strategies, Solo Stove does a really good job of this as well. They actually have a bundles section. So like what we can see here, not only do they just sell their individual products, but they also have these bundles. So they have here like the backyard bundle or the ultimate bundle. So depending right on how customers use the product, they'll bundle it together and offer it as a one package, usually at a discount or something like that. They sometimes throw a freebie, right? Anything like that to really kind of get that customer to purchase. And what you're doing here is you're really committing that customer to your brand, right? Because they're not only purchasing one product, they're purchasing a combination of products, which is most likely going to lead them to come back again. They also have here this Bonfire 2.0, another Solo Stove page here. This is actually one of their product pages. But as you can see here, they have that information. And then at the bottom, they have complete your bonfire experience. And there's a couple of options that they have down there. But again, they're trying to upsell here, but they're giving you more options to really increase that cart value, right? And then finishing off, that conversion, that purchasing funnel with the checkout process. One thing that BigCommerce does really well that I like is we offer a a one-page checkout. So as you can see here with Solo Stove, the customer puts in their information, shipping, billing, and they're able to purchase on this one page without having to click on another page, be redirected anywhere or anything like that. Right. So if that's something that you can enable, if you don't have it yet, definitely would recommend that. If you don't have it, aren't able to do something like a one-page checkout, I recommend at least having some visuals for your customers, whether it's like a step-by-step, like a 1, 2, 3, right? Or a like a loading bar or something like that to give customers kind of an idea of where they're at in that checkout process. I know personally, if you click past 2 pages, really past the first one, you kind of start getting a little doubt, right? And where is this taking me? Is this secure or not? So just trying to make that checkout as frictionless as possible. Now we're starting to see multiple ways to accept payments. So Solo Stove is a great example here, having Amazon Pay, PayPal, pay later. So buy now, pay later options are also increasingly popular. Definitely, if you have a higher average order value there, I do recommend doing something like a buy now, pay later, or if you offer like a shipping protection, a warranty, anything like that, offering that for your customer, again, to make them feel more at ease. So really good example here with Solo Stove of just providing multiple ways to accept payments. And then the one-click checkout that is also fairly new, depending on the platform that you're working with, something on the payment gateway that you're working with as well. Some payment gateways like PayPal, Stripe now have a one-click checkout. But essentially, that's now a button that you can have either on your product page, on your cart page, or even on the checkout page, where essentially the customer already has saved information. So for example, Amazon Pay is very similar to that. They just simply click the button, it preloads all their shipping, payment information, and then they can just go ahead and check out, right, without even having to fill that information out there. So the fewer steps, the better, right? Making that experience as quick as possible and as frictionless as possible. And then finishing off, just a couple of things that I like to just touch on here. This isn't going to necessarily going to be as much of like a visual thing that you're going to do with your site, but some things that I definitely go over whenever I touch on my conversion audits, things that can impact, right, that user experience. That's something that is becoming increasingly more important, right, especially on mobile devices. Like I was mentioning earlier, if you go to a mobile site and it's taking more than 2, 3, 4 seconds to load, you might back out of it, especially if you weren't even sure where the site was that you were going to, if it was something that you didn't have a lot of interest in, right? We just lost that shopper because our website wasn't fast enough. So site speed, this is definitely something that you guys can check on your own. I have here some suggested tools at the bottom. Lighthouse, webpagetest.org is really one of my favorite ones. Lighthouse is a Google. If you have like Chrome or anything like that, is an extension as well that you can download there. But it gives you a good idea of, and if you guys have any questions about how that works, we can provide some resources there, kind of support articles, but they basically show you, where your website's at in terms of speed. Google has stated that 2 seconds is kind of that acceptability metric there. And it is something that impacts SEO a lot as well, right? So not only for conversion, if not for conversion, do it for SEO, right? But making sure that our website is optimized. Really, the main thing that I see, and something that you guys might, if you go through like web page test or Lighthouse, the main thing that I see impacting merchants is going to be their images. Most of the time, images just aren't optimized. And so what I mean by optimize is having the file size of the image as small as possible. So not necessarily affecting the resolution. It's just having the file. So the way, right, the amount of data that's stored, having that optimized. So that's something that Tiny PNG, that last suggested tools. There's a couple of sites. Tiny PNG is a free one that I always mention to my merchants, but there's some paid services like Cloud and Airy. BigCommerce has some applications as well that help you out with that. But check your images, guys. If your images aren't optimized, that's going to be the main reason why it's taking your website a while to load. And that jumps me into kind of my last bit here, which is Core Web Vitals. If you haven't heard of them, I'm glad that excuse me, that you're on here now. Core Web Vitals is something that in the last couple of years, Google started implementing here. And so we're moving more into that customer experience deal there, right? So with Core Web Vitals here, we have LCP, FID, CLS, and this is something that those tools that I mentioned can go over, but not to get too into the weeds here. Main thing that we're looking at here, we have those numbers, right, of kind of where it needs improvement, if we're in a good spot or not. LCP, largest contentful paint, that just means how long does it take for our largest piece of content to load? And I was just mentioning images, right, is what I usually see. If your images are really large in a file size, it's going to take a while for your website to load, and that's going to impact that speed. First input delayed and CLS, cumulative layout shift. This is a little bit more, maybe you might need to have a developer look at some things as well. But essentially, just so that we know what it is, FID is that interactivity. So if you've ever been on a site and it's opening up and you click on it, on a button, on a call to action, and it doesn't work, and you have to like click on it 2 or 3 more times, and then it finally works on the 3rd time, that's what that FID is measuring, right? So we don't want to have that type of lag there. And then lastly, CLS. So again, if you've ever been, especially like on a mobile device, the website's loading up, you click on something, and then the next thing you know, the website shifted, right? And you ended up clicking on a different thing that you didn't mean to click on. That's what the CLS is measuring there. So all in all, Core Web Vitals here are measuring that user experience. How long does it take to your website to load? How usable is it? Right, and a lot of that comes from speed. So main thing that impacts this, a lot of times from my experience, is going to be image sizes. And then if we do have any custom work on our website, that's always going to be something that will affect it. So just make sure if we do have a developer, development team, anybody like that, to go through like an audit with your site, right, to double check that there. This is something that we do with BigCommerce, part of my role, right, with the SEO and conversion audits as well. We're looking for things like this, right? What is it that's impacting your site? It's making it slower. It's impacting that user experience. But with that being said, I try to leave the more techie stuff to the very end. If I have something, to really go off of this, here are some resources, guys, is building that trust, right? Very easy, actionable items that you can do is put content that's about you, answer those questions that your customers have, provide value statements, right? And social proof. So that user-generated content. If you don't have any user-generated content on your site, I definitely recommend getting that on there as quickly as possible. But with that being said, here are some resources and more resources from BigCommerce. I'm sure we'll be sending these out here. But any questions? I think I did see a couple come in here. Kim, do you have any that?
Yeah, there's some great questions. Thank you so much, Roger. That was amazing. And I mean, website is so important, especially if you are strictly D2C. I love the term frictionless too. Like very much resonates with me as a consumer. So yeah, let me hop into some questions here. And I did post the resources in the chat. So just keep an eye out for that. And everyone will be getting a copy of this presentation. But just if you want to take a look at those resources now and download them, you can do that. I'll go with the first question that was asked by Angelique. Can you sell digital downloads on BigCommerce? Is that built, or do you have any separate software to sell digital downloads?
Hey, good question. You definitely can sell digital products on there. It's actually really easy where you just upload your file and essentially shoots like a confirmation to the customer to download. But yes, both physical and digital products can be sold.
Okay, awesome. And just we have about 8 minutes left, so I'm gonna run through the rest of these questions. But how to find and post reviews from
I'm sorry.
Tanya? Tanya's asking how to find and post reviews.
Good question. So if we don't have a review application or functionality enabled, we'll need to enable that. So within BigCommerce, we have a native functionality that allows customers to submit reviews after they purchased a product. You can send them an email. They can just go back into their account and provide a review there. So natively, BigCommerce offers that. I'm not 100% sure on the other platforms, but I'm sure like a Shopify and a Wix, either if it's not a native functionality, there's an application for that. With BigCommerce, there's both. So some of the popular applications that I think could be e-commerce wide are like Yotpo, a Trustpilot, Stamped.io. So any of those there, that'll be good to start collecting the reviews.
Okay, awesome. Zahir is asking regarding, and I know you covered this a little bit. So regarding customer UGC plus testimonials, do you guys have any data on what's working best right now? For example, text or email conversations, how long after purchase? There's a couple of questions in here. How long after purchase? What are most effective incentives, etc.? Any best practices you can share as we are just about to start collecting this? Thanks. Super informative presentation overall. So.
Awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. I'm sorry, can you repeat the very first part?
Yeah. So regarding customer UGC and testimonials, what's working best right now?
Working best right now. Yeah. What I'm starting to see is those videos and images. So things like Instagram, right? So the BB Wheels example, especially if your product really lends itself to that. The Green Roads example that I was mentioning, right? The CBD products, it's kind of hard, right, to show like a video or an image. But if you can try to do that, we're seeing a lot now, with things like TikTok and whatnot, customers using the product, right? And actually like kind of promoting it for you, right? So if you do have any of that type of content, encourage your customers to submit that for you, right? You can offer an incentive, right, with whenever you're requesting a product review or anything like that, whether it's a discount in a future purchase, a freebie, or anything like that there.
How about with text and email?
Text and email. Text is, I don't have specific statistics, but just from my experience, email is definitely, or text is definitely taking over email, right? A lot of customers, they're on their phone now, mobile devices, right? It's much easier to get a text message. I know, my text message inbox is now getting more full with shopping and, requests and promotions and whatnot than what we used to be. And I just tend to check that more often than my email, right? So again, kind of depending on the customer there.
And how long after purchase, and what are would you contact them, and what are some really great incentives that you're seeing?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. And that's something, again, hopefully you have a service to send something like that out. Within BigCommerce, they do natively send out product reviews. So after someone has purchased a product, you can set a time frame, right? Whether it's like days, weeks, or whatnot. Excuse me. And I would say for that question, it really depends on the type of product. So for example, something that's, let's say, perishable, right? A food item or something like that. You can safely send a product review request within a week, right? Within 2 weeks or something like that. But if you have a product that, maybe they have to go through various uses of it, if it's something that, like maybe sports related, it goes through a season or something like that, you might want to wait a little bit more for that product review, right? It just doesn't make sense to send it a week after. Think about your shipping times as well, right? If they're not receiving the product, for a couple of weeks, definitely don't want to send a review email before they even have the product yet, right? But the main thing that I see are going to be things like discounts, if that's something that you can offer there. A lot of things customers just also want to see themselves on on a website, right? So you can offer them, that they'll be on your homepage or anything like that. That's another way to kind of look at it.
Okay, awesome, great. And Angelique is asking, can you pay BigCommerce every month, or is it one big annual payment at a time?
That's a great question. I know for sure we have annual, and yes, we do have monthly. I was getting confused with the quarterly things, but it's either monthly or annual.
Okay. And Brian is asking, you mentioned some AI. So Brian is asking, what are some great budget-friendly AI-powered recommendation engines for packaged food businesses?
Yeah. Depending on what you're looking for, like I mentioned, Just they're one that I personally have worked with merchants. They do offer like a free subscription, kind of like a base line. So within BigCommerce, there's a few apps. Again, it depends, on if you're on Shopify or Wix or anything like that. There could be some different applications, but I would try to look for like conversion rate optimization pop-ups or anything like that there. If you can't get any of that, if you're kind of to answer just AI outside of just pop-ups and that kind of information, you can definitely use it, to try to gather information about what type of content you want to put in there, what your buyers might be looking for, who uses this type of product or something like that.
Right. Okay, great. And Kimberly's asking, what size/dimensions do you recommend for images?
That would really depend on your theme. So within BigCommerce, our themes are mobile responsive. And so they come with like their own theme documentation and a recommended size for like the homepage banner, recommended size for your product. So if you have a theme with your software, or if you have a developer, right, or someone that's working on that, that's where I would just double check that, because it does vary. Yeah.
Okay. And can you provide resources on user flow for conversion?
Yeah, there's actually we actually have some articles on BigCommerce. If that's okay, Kim, I can send them over to you after the call. And yeah, we can send those there, but for sure.
No, that would be great. And the same person's asking, how can you avoid spammy traffic?
Yes, and I apologize. I think, yeah, I meant to mention this earlier in our call whenever I was talking about analyzing your traffic. So that's one thing that kind of it comes with having an online store, right? We're gonna get bots, we're gonna get that kind of traffic on there, especially because we want to have crawlers like Google search engines and whatnot be able to crawl our site. There's no way to really just like set a block for someone to do that. What you can do is limit what pages are crawled with what's called like a robot text file. That's something that BigCommerce also provides. It's there on the platform. You can edit it really easily. So, making sure that bots don't go onto like customer account pages, checkout pages, that type of information there. But other than that, we're really limited on what we can prevent coming in good, differentiating, and let me rephrase that. Yeah, prevent like the bad from the good coming in. There are some applications I was looking at in BigCommerce, so I'm not sure if other platforms offer it, but simple things like putting reCAPTCHA icons, right? If you're getting spammy contact us forms, or even on a checkout page, right? I don't necessarily encourage that just because it adds friction, right? But that's something to kind of block or stop bots there. Any kind of firewalls as well that you could potentially put. That's again something that BigCommerce has in form of apps. So if you want to kind of take a look at that type of information, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's part of the game. Yeah.
Right, for sure. Two people are asking if they could get an audit or book like a one-on-one assessment with BigCommerce to just learn more.
Yeah, definitely. I think the QR code here should work. If you guys just want to scan that there. Otherwise, feel free to just contact me directly, guys. I am on LinkedIn as well, just Roger Bautista. Roger Bautista at bigcommerce.com if that's something that you guys want to reach out to there. But yeah, either that or just visiting our BigCommerce resources website, and you can also book a meeting through there. to get that.
Okay, great, great. I'm going to run through a couple more questions. We're at 3:02 right now. Yes, Joe, we will have a replay. So someone is asking that. And Mira has posted some BigCommerce pricing plans. Thank you, Mira, for that.
Excellent.
I think this question is pretty relevant today with like how much affiliate marketing and loyalty programs, brand ambassador programs. Someone's asking, what's the best app that you recommend for an affiliate/loyalty program?
That is a great question. We actually have a new BigCommerce app.
I'm very interested in this for reasons that I'll tell you later, but
Yeah, we have a new partner within BigCommerce. It's affiliate and influencer, impact.com.
I was going to say, I thought I saw that you guys got together with Impact. Okay,
Yeah.
wow, that's a pretty big deal. Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be the big one right now. If we search through the app, I'm sure I can come up with some, but that's going to be the big partner that we have right now.
Thank you. And so I want to try to get to everyone's question, but I think there's two interesting questions here. How do you incentivize customers to create UGC and submit reviews? But I think you maybe covered that in that UGC question,
yeah.
right? But then someone's asking how to block Ashburn, Virginia bot, which is 15% of our traffic and 0% of our customers, recommendations, or someone can help fix our site speed, foodcreationnation.com. So yeah, it sounds like they're having some trouble.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's actually something that was, I know there's a certain firewall app within BigCommerce. I think it's actually just called Firewall.
Okay.
You can set like locations, like geographical locations where you just restrict traffic from. So if you did just want to limit Virginia, right, and hopefully nobody does want to purchase from there, that would be a route to go. Otherwise, yeah, the thing is, with Google Analytics, if you're able to filter out that information, that's one of those things where if you're constantly looking at your data, you're able to pick up right on, one day I spiked and we had 800 visitors. Try to look at things like how long were those page visits? Did they visit a bunch of different pages on your site and they only were on each page, for milliseconds, a second or something, right? So that you can kind of differentiate that traffic. But again, kind of going back to it's part of the game, right? Unless we just completely want to block out something. Yeah.
Right.
Let's differentiate.
That is all the questions. We got to them all. So so I really want to thank you so much, Roger, and Mira. Thank you so much for jumping in on chat there. I really appreciate that too. Just giving some really amazing, great information. Can you let people know, is this the Scan Me, the QR code is how people can reach you? I mean, we're going to provide that information too, but someone posted your LinkedIn there. So that's probably a really good.
Thank you guys. Yeah, I believe this, it's not, I don't think the QR is directly for me, but it will get us with our team so that you can work in getting an assessment. Mm-hmm.
Amazing, amazing. Well, we're going to wrap up. We went a few minutes over, so I want to thank everybody for staying. I want to thank everybody for joining, and everyone have a great rest of your day.
Awesome. It was a pleasure, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Hope you got some good stuff.
It was awesome. Thanks, Roger.
Bye.
Bye.